Okay, so the watch. And who exactly does it belong to? And why the hell does Kingpin want it? So, at the beginning of the series, we thought that this was going to be about essentially Ronin and the fact that these criminal organizations want him dead for what he did during the blip. It seems as though that is not the case. It seems as though someone really wants a specific watch, and that watch in and of itself is going to lead that person. That person is presumed to be Kingpin, to someone that he believes is dead so that he can kill him or her himself. Now, there are essentially three major theories as to who exactly the watch belongs to. I'm going to debunk the first one because this person isn't dead, nor is that person retired, and that's Nick Fury. Now, I can understand that a lot of people believe that it's Nick Fury, but you have to understand that from Hawkeye's perspective, he said that he believes that that person has long since been retired. That is not the case for Nick Fury. Unbeknownst to Hawkeye and a lot of the MCU characters, Talos has essentially been running around as a pseudo Nick Fury, while the other Nick Fury has essentially been in space on the Sword battle station. So chances are it's not Nick Fury. The second person that people believe that the watch could belong to, Tony Stark. Now, Tony has been known to leave Stark tech inside of devices. We see with his fight against Bucky, he had a watch that turned into an Iron Man gauntlet. It's not Tony's. Like, Tony's never left behind tech in that sort of way. Now, when you look at Peter and you think about the glasses were delivered to Peter. In regards to anything else, Tony never leaves his tech lying around. And that's simply because he's always been afraid that other nations would take his tech and apply it to their military, giving them an advantage and essentially creating a new war, which really leads into the Armor Wars series that we're going to be getting with War Machine. Why did I forget his name? That always happens. Like, I'll remember somebody's name. Don Cheadle. There we go. Now, the third and last person that I believe that the watch belongs to, that Kingpin is looking for, is Laura Barton. I believe that Laura Barton is the person that the watch belongs to. Essentially, at some point in time, I think Laura Barton may have worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. or she may have worked for another clandestine organization before her and Hawkeye were recruited into S.H.I.E.L.D. And this really feeds into the idea that Laura Barton isn't actually her real name. It's essentially an alias, and she's actually Mockingbird, which would make the most sense because in the MCU, Mockingbird and Hawkeye are essentially constant back and forth love interests with one another. So it would make sense that the MCU's version of Mockingbird, which weirdly enough would completely separate it from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and make Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. an Elseworld series that happens in its own universe, it would make the most sense that, yes, Mockingbird would probably be the person that Kingpin is looking for, especially since Mockingbird has a penchant for talking a lot of shit, and she got down to a lot of stuff in regards to killing other individuals in order to complete her mission. Now, Laura Barton would make the most sense because three things were essentially revealed in this episode. Number one, she has contacts. Not only does she has contacts that allows her to get classified information that Kate wasn't able to get from her mother's computer, who runs an organization that does nothing but peddle classified information. Number two, she speaks German. Now, that completely caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting her to be able to speak like a completely different language. And of course, that may just be something along the lines of, oh, hey, she speaks this language because she took a couple years of German at school and she basically doesn't want the kids to hear what she's working on. But it really feeds into the third thing about Laura Barton probably being the person who owns that watch, which is the fact that essentially she's always been cool with Clint's job. She's never been super stressed out. She's always been understanding in regards to the fact that essentially he's an agent for S.H.I.E.L.D. who has to go around the world and eliminate targets. And for anyone else, and weirdly enough, for everyone else that we've seen in the MCU who has significant others, Pepper Potts had issues with Tony being Iron Man because he was constantly being injured and constantly almost dying. Jane Foster took issue with Thor essentially being a god and also essentially almost dying. Like, we always see the significant other in the MCU relationship taking issue with the other individual's job or what exactly it is that they get up to. But for Laura, she's always been super understanding, and she was even super understanding about the fact that he was Ronin and what he did. And she was just like, you know, that was when you thought that you lost everything. I understand like where you're coming from. And it's like, okay, you're a little bit way too understanding about the fact that my man was just out there killing hundreds of people that, you know, he deemed to be bad. There's also the fact that the watch has a tracker in it. So the question becomes, if Laura's able to track the watch, if Kingpin got his hands on the watch, could he use the watch to track Laura, which would lead to essentially him attacking the farm in an attempt to kill her and kill all the kids as well, which would instantly put him on Hawkeye's shit list. Now, that's pretty much it. Like, I can't think of anyone else that the watch could belong to. Could it belong to Natasha? No. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And why would you care if the watch belonged to Natasha? She's essentially dead. There's nobody else in S.H.I.E.L.D. that I can see that the watch could belong to. You know what? I'm going to throw it out there. Maybe the watch belongs to Mephisto. Yeah, you always got to bring up Mephisto when you're talking about, like, a mystery inside of the MCU. Like it would be super hilarious if this is where, like, Kingpin's like, what? Like, this watch doesn't belong to anyone. I'm actually looking for a watch to, like, use as a prop. And, like, I've, for whatever reason, gotten rid of, fuck it, we'll just use this bangle right here. He's like, this watch doesn't belong to anyone. What it belongs to is the demonic god of mischief and death himself, Mephisto. And by using this watch, I can triangulate his temple's location on the planet Earth to summon him to this plane. That would be completely unexpected. But you always got to throw Mephisto in there when you're talking about a mystery for a character who may or may not show up inside of the MCU. But yeah, my major thought is that the watch belongs to Laura Barton, that at some point in time she operated essentially as Mockingbird, and the reason why she's retired is because Mockingbird might have been getting down to some of the same shit that Ronin was getting down to inside of the Blip. But yeah, that's the end of the video. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button. Make sure to leave some comments down below to let me know what you think or should I say who you think the watch belongs to. And if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and do the same thing. I'll catch you in the next one.